Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to dive headfirst into the booming global bus HVAC systems market, and we'll see exactly how the electric vehicle transition is completely revolutionizing public transit. Now, I know what you might be thinking, bus air conditioning? Really? But stick with me. As we unpack the data today, you're going to see that this is actually the epicenter of a massive, high-stakes green technology race. Here is the roadmap for our explainer today. A multi-billion-dollar breeze. What is driving demand? The electric bus revolution. Breaking down the market, the global HVAC map, and finally, the future of transit tech. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1. A multi-billion-dollar breeze. The massive financial scale of transit climate control. By the year 2034, the global bus HVAC systems market is projected to reach an absolutely staggering $16.7 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. We aren't just talking about a few fans and cooling coils here. We are talking about a foundational, critical pillar of modern, sustainable urban infrastructure. The growth trajectory is massive. Starting at $8.2 billion in 2025, the market is expanding at a compound annual growth rate of 8.2% to hit that $16.7 billion mark by 2034. To put that into perspective, that is effectively a doubling of the entire market size in less than a decade. Moving right along to Section 2, what is driving demand? Passenger comfort meets infrastructure expansion. So what's actually fueling this incredible surge? Well, it's primarily driven by everyday passengers like you and me demanding clean, perfectly regulated air, especially as we deal with more extreme weather globally. But honestly, it's not just about our comfort. Governments worldwide are dropping the hammer with incredibly strict air quality and emission regulations. Toss in the massive investments being poured into expanding public transit networks just to clear up urban traffic jams, and fleet operators basically have no choice. They absolutely have to upgrade these systems. Section 3. The electric bus revolution. Solving the green energy power drain. Here is where things get really interesting. Traditional HVACs drain electric bus batteries way too fast. You know how your smartphone battery just plummets when it's freezing cold or super hot outside? Now imagine trying to heat or cool a 40-foot metal tube packed with commuters. Firing up an old-school AC unit could severely cut an electric bus's driving range, making it literally impossible to finish its daily route. So, energy-efficient climate control suddenly transforms from a nice-to-have luxury into a vital, range-extending necessity. The contrast between the two dominant technologies is basically night and day. On one hand, older diesel systems are built like absolute tanks. Highly durable, sure, but their heavy energy consumption just wrecks fuel efficiency. On the flip side, these new electric systems are lightweight engineering marvels. They use advanced thermal management and heat pumps to optimize battery usage by moving heat around rather than generating it from scratch. That is the secret sauce for expending that crucial driving range. Let's move to Section 4. Breaking down the market, where the industry stands today. When it comes to the hardware itself, roof-mounted systems are the undisputed kings, capturing over 48% of the market share. Why? It's simple. They're incredibly standardized and super easy to just slap onto different types of buses. But you definitely want to keep an eye on split systems moving forward. They offer a lot more design flexibility and they're growing fast. Now, here's a pretty surprising fact. Even though electric is by far the fastest growing segment, boasting a nearly 12% growth rate, traditional diesel buses still make up the majority of the market right now, sitting at over 52%. The electric revolution is absolutely happening, no doubt about it, but we are very much in a transitional phase where legacy diesel infrastructure is still doing the heavy lifting. And who is actually using these systems? Urban transit buses take the biggest slice of the pie at nearly 47%, which makes perfect sense. Urban centers have the highest passenger density and the toughest emissions rules, making them ground zero for these HVAC upgrades. But we're also seeing strong growth in coach buses, catering to long-distance travel, especially as tourism bounces back and riders demand top-tier comfort. Section 5. The global HVAC map. Who is leading the global race? Right now, North America is completely dominating the board, holding nearly 35% of the market. This massive share is being driven hard by rapid electric bus adoption and some very hefty government incentives pouring into transit networks across the US and Canada. Europe is following closely behind, leaning heavily into their notoriously strict environmental regulations. But here's the twist. Asia-Pacific is actually the fastest-growing region, expanding at a really impressive rate of nearly 11%. That surge is largely fueled by China's colossal manufacturing base and aggressive government push for clean energy. We're also seeing fascinating growth in regions like the Middle East and Africa. Over there, led by the UAE, extreme temperatures mean high-performance HVAC systems aren't just about comfort, they are mandatory for daily survival.
Finally, Section 6, the future of transit tech, smart climates, heat pumps, and retrofits.
The future relies 100% on smart climate control. We are way beyond a bus driver just twisting a little plastic dial. Instead, we're talking about real-time sensor monitoring of both temperature and air quality. Those sensors feed data straight into IoT platforms for automated split-second adjustments. Even crazier, fleet operators can now run remote predictive maintenance. Imagine knowing an AC unit is going to fail before it actually breaks down on a 100-degree day with a bus full of passengers. That level of tech creates some major opportunities for the next decade. Industry heavyweights like Denso Corporation are already pushing the envelope with advanced heat pumps engineered specifically to perform in extreme weather. But equally important are cost-effective retrofit solutions. Think about emerging markets like Brazil. Replacing an entire fleet with brand new electric buses might not be financially realistic right now. But retrofitting older buses with modern, ultra-efficient HVAC systems, that offers an incredibly lucrative market opportunity. As this multi-billion-dollar market completely reshapes the intersection of green tech and public transit, you gotta ask yourself, how will these smart systems change your very own daily commute? The next time you step onto a city bus and get hit with that perfectly clean, perfectly chilled air, you'll know exactly the billions of dollars and cutting-edge engineering that went into making it happen. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes and the temperature dials on the future of transit.